What's going on, everybody? And in this week's lesson, we are going to check out a fantastic John Petrucci picking exercise. It's going to hit some core bar chord shapes that are essential to guitar playing, as well as work on alternate picking across all of your strings, right? Which can get a little sloppy if we're not careful with it, all right? I am in standard tuning. Down in the description below, you can find the link for the tabs, all right? So let's jump into it. Now, one of my friends shared with me this video, Facebook post that Petrucci made several years ago at this point, just ripping through this cross-picking exercise. And if you watch it, he actually says that he learned this from Steve Morse, right, from a masterclass that he attended back in his Berkeley days, right? So as we stand on the shoulder of giants, let's work on our cross-picking. Now, we need to know two major shapes, but I guess before we get into that, I'll give you an idea of what this exercise sounds like. Right? And then we can descend through those chords. It's about half the exercise, right? Really cool exercise, great for your cross picking. And again, we need to know or have in our hands two really essential chord shapes. So let's check that out. First, right? First one, major bar chord, right? First finger, ring finger, pinky, plays the power chord, middle finger on the third string, gives us our chord quality note. It's either major or minor. Major, barring it, lowering it down gives us our minor. I'm assuming that most of you kind of know this shape. The second shape is this shape right here, what might be referred to as the C shape in the cage system. It's actually another very common chord if any of you out there have played Under the Bridge. It's actually the first chord of that song, right? It's a very common chord. We see it all the time. A lot of guitar players just don't realize how often they come across that chord. And I think I've covered that chord shape in a cool chord scale exercise. Really great for sweep picking, all that kind of stuff. But I digress, right? So those are the two chord shapes that we're moving. And if you're having, just a real quick tip here, if you're having problems making this chord, let me show you a simple way to kind of get there, right? Kind of set up our hand for success. If we play a minor bar chord on the 5th fret, right? So and this one will be B minor, right? 2, 4, 4, 3, barring 2, right? I could pick up my pinky. It's going to give me this minor 7 sound, irrelevant to this, but that's what it is. And then I can take my pinky and then put it on the 5th fret of the A string. So if I lift up my pinky, that's the chord shape. Really simple way to get there. If you want another view of how to get there, if I'm playing the first chord, which is this bar chord, F sharp, 2nd fret of the low string, right? Again, pick up my pinky, put my ring finger on the 4th string, put my middle finger on the 2nd string, and then plop my pinky down on the 5th string. That's going to give me this chord. So however you get there, set your hand up for success, and we'll do it. So the first half of the exercise, it moves chromatically up the guitar, right? So it's half steps. That's what we're doing. And we're doing so through these inversions or just through these different chord shapes, okay? So basically the first one, 2nd fret. And you'll notice that in this exercise, you kind of attack it two different ways. One, we just play the first 4 low strings of the chord, right? And you're going to want to alternate pick this. This is not a sweep picking exercise. Okay? And then we're going to change to the next chord shape. Okay? So for the most part, you're going to move up half steps. There are some moments where you stay on the same fret, like the first 2 chords. It's this F sharp chord, and then we stay there on 2 and play this chord in that position. Essentially, it's a D chord in first inversion. Okay, and we're not going to get into that what that means, just that's the technical term, or D sharp or D over F sharp. Okay? going to shift up to G. And then shift up to 4th position, play the next chord shape, which is E. And then go up to 5, play minor now. And then we shift up to 6, which is technically F sharp. And what's cool about this, you get a really strong harmonic movement, right, as you move through all these. And that's because, essentially, every time we play this chord shape, it is the 5 chord of the chord that we're going to, right? So if I play the D, it is the 5 chord of G, right? G, A, B, C, D, right? It's the 5 chord. That's a really strong harmonic movement. And that's essentially what's happening to give us that sense of movement through this. So it's E to A minor. It's F sharp to B minor. I can stay there and play G to C. Right? And then I play A to D minor. And then I play B to E. Right? So really fun, harmonically interesting, right? It kind of sets us up to kind of subliminally learn that information, right? Which is important because that's one of the strongest cadences we have in our vocabulary and in Western music, right? So we're gonna go through that all the way up to the E. And in the exercise itself, Petrucci plays each one of those chords 2 times. Like that. Now, when we get up to this 12th fret E chord right here, we're actually going to start picking up the entire chord, all 6 strings, right? And even as I practice this today, you kind of have to change your angle of your hand a little bit, like you're up and down slanting, because you might miss a string. It still happens to me. I tend to always miss the 3rd string. I would not always, but I tend to miss the 3rd string if I'm not really consciously focusing on my slanting, right? So when I go through this chord, I get the entire arpeggio, right? So I go up the bar chord, no new notes there. The only thing that we have to go up there is play the major 3rd, which is 2 whole steps up on the high string. Like that. And then stop on that 5th string and then we're gonna descend down just the same way. So we go 11 and we play the other chord shape. And just watch out, when I get to the top of that chord, the intervals are different. So it's only a minor 3rd up top. It doesn't change the chord, it's just the shape of the interval is only a minor 3rd, or a step and a half. Just the way that chord shape works, right? Now, as you do this, whether you want to bar with that ring finger, I'm not going to be too picky about that. I tend to use my pinky on the way up as I ascend through that. But then when I come back down, I tend to bar it with my ring finger. I don't know why, but my pinky, I have a hard time getting back to that shape in a descending fashion. So there you go, fantastic alternate picking, cross-stringing exercise by the man and legend Petrucci himself, who got that from another alternate picking giant, Steve Morse, right? Down in the description below, you can find a link for the tabs, and as always, let me know what you come up with. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.